Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Well, hello there and welcome to Business Connections Live, the programme for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners. Our guest on today's show is Ian Dickson, award-winning business coach and speaker. It's exciting, isn't it? Looking at setting business goals and how you, for your business, can achieve ongoing success. Cracking show lined up for today. Ian, lovely to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's great to be back again. It only seems like yesterday I was here, and here we are again. So I think it was April was last time.
It was indeed. We always, when we're looking for someone that's going to bring lots of content, then you're the call-on guy.
We did run out of time, I have to say. Last time there were so many things I wanted to share, and we ended up talking about Winnie the Pooh and ran out of time.
I know. You'll have to watch the entire show on that one if you want to find out what that was all about. Let's just remind people about Ian Dickson and who you are and what you do. I said there in your introduction that you are an award-winning coach and speaker.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about you. What's your background? You used to be a policeman, didn't you? I
did, yes. In fact, we were talking about it in the green room before we came in today. So talking about accidents, weren't we? So 1979 to 1986. So this is a whistle stop. 1979 to 1986. The Maggie years, I spent some time working as a policeman in London, in Brixton. So did the riots, the miners' strike, the Brighton bombing, Greenham Common. Really quite a very quiet time, actually, during my police years, I have to say. And then left in '86, started my own business, left that business, sold that business, started another business with two other guys. Always wanted to be a corporate lad, wanted to get onto the corporate ladder. And I shared this last time. I sort of blagged a job with Marie Curie Cancer Care, who's now one of my best ever friends, gave me that job. We had a lot in common. Took a job with Marie Curie Cancer Care as an IT manager there. Loved it. It was got me onto the corporate ladder. Although it's a charity, it was very much a corporate environment. It was a long way to go. I live in Portsmouth. It was a long way to go every day. So I then looked for a job closer to home and managed to snaffle a really good job in Reading as a operations director for a big telecoms company, and looked skyward and I'd arrived. 6-figure salary, a lovely car, booper, and the whole corporate shebang, everything that I'd always wanted to achieve. What I would call middle floor of the corporate ladder. Which
is a very dangerous place in today's environment, isn't it?
Oh, it was dangerous for me.
That middle area. It was dangerous for you then, but
yeah.
But I mean, even today it's dangerous. That middle management tier is not a place you either want to go to the top or stay down with the workers, don't you?
Yeah. So I mean, they all. I can remember at my appraisals every year. They used to say how ambitious and driven I was, but actually when I got to that level, and I always used to look skyward at my dearly departed mum and used to think she'd be really proud of what I'd achieved, and so felt quite happy there and felt safe. But actually, certainly, as I'm sure a lot of employed people will know, you're never really safe. So, and within 15 minutes on year 5, I got made redundant. So. Had a difficult journey home and, got myself sorted out, got myself back together, decided midlife crisis, I was 43, that I would spend it back on me and reinvest in me. And as people that know me will sort of confirm that I haven't really worked a day since. I'm still waiting to get caught. So absolutely love what I do with a passion. So just so much.
Do you think the whole thing has changed? I mean, we say you're a motivational speaker, you're a business speaker. But do you think there are a lot of motivational business speakers out there that are very good at being entertainers? They can do the talk, but actually, if you were to put them into a business environment, they probably couldn't do the walk.
Right. So, and I know we touched on this last time, and I offered to name these people. Perhaps for legal reasons, it's not.
For legal reasons, that'd be a bad thing. Yeah.
So, I think the truth is that there are as many, if not more, entertainers than there are what I call real content deliverers. So then that doesn't mean the entertainers aren't delivering content, but I think that it's wrapped up in a very entertaining package to the extent that the audience, you know, get a high on it, they get off on it, and they go away pumped, enthused and excited and motivated. That ultimately what they're there to do. But the reality hits on the Monday morning when they're back at their desk and they actually do nothing with what they've taken away. So now, just to roll back a little bit, when I started this journey...
well, I was going to say, see, what qualifies you to stand up and tell me how to run my business?
So absolutely petrified at my first ever networking event that I went to. I never got to the coffee machine. I was that nervous. I paid my money, I got in, I saw another business coach across the room, and I turned and bolted, and I was home before they sat down to have breakfast. So I was that nervous, and to actually get on a platform and speak, my God, it just, you know, and then for this, you know, the chances of doing something like this, I just couldn't ever imagine it happening. But I was given an incredibly good piece of advice, which was, if you want to be successful in this industry, you have to be seen as an expert. And in order to be seen as an expert, you need to get on stage. So I learned to love something that I hate. And those that know me personally know that I am actually still a very private, shy individual. But I've learnt to love the opportunity. And in all honesty, all I do is just share what I've learnt. So I'm not sort of creating some kind of entertainment show. It is, if you want to know how to put a 90-day plan together, if you want to know in 5 minutes how to reinvent the sales funnel, if you want to understand communication in a business a bit better, that's the kind of thing that I've done over 250 times now. For somebody that couldn't get to the coffee machine, I've now spoken all over the world over 250 times. So you know, I'm starting to get the hang of it as a thing. So,
but in the old days, when it came to public speaking, and I refer to old days being relatively recent, in fact, the situation that you would find yourself in would be that you would be looking. You would write your speech, and that would be the thing that you would go out and you would take out, and that would be the thing that would earn you the money. And with the way the technology is moving on right now, it's a little bit different, isn't it? Because you're sharing it on a lot of different platforms, so people are beginning to actually hear it. And people are probably stealing it as well. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. So, but even in the time that I've been, in the 10 years that I've been getting up onto a stage, you're absolutely right, it's completely changed. So the first 3 or 4 years, really the only people that took anything away would be the people in the audience. Even if somebody in the audience went back and shared with somebody else what they'd heard another speaker talk about, it's never really delivered in the same way, because a lot of these speakers, it is about how it's delivered and the manner in which it's got across to be able to get into the individual. We'll talk a little bit, I'm sure, a little bit about the other you know, getting at the other person. So, but you're quite right, and something that's changed for me over the years, as you talk about these other platforms, for example, you know, live on Periscope, these kind of things now, is that when you stand on a platform and speak, the likelihood is it's then out in the ether forever. So you know, it's warts and all. So so I'm kind of glad that I learnt my craft 10 years ago before a private audience, rather than getting out onto a stage nowadays where we've got people watching live that have the opportunity to, you know, if I mess up, because we all mess up. The copying stuff, that's happened to me forever. Ever since I'm an innovator by design. I'm a rule breaker. If something's perfect, I'll Ianize it and change it. You know, it's just how I am as how I'm wired. So in this industry, I've been very fortunate to be able to, if you like, create and innovate things that already exist, and I call them mine, if you like. And what happens is people send it to me and with somebody else's name on and say, yeah, you should check this stuff out, it's really good. And because it's my stuff. So, but it's a
nice compliment.
It's an absolute compliment. And like all things in life, to be honest with you, you have to be on that end of the bell curve, and you have to say, well, you can have that because I'm doing this now. It forces me to constantly reinvent.
And I think that is the danger. There are some people that are out there at the moment who are now peddling the same material that they've always peddled, and they're beginning to sound repetitive. And I think that is a danger. Listen,
right.
we could talk. You know who you are. You do.
It's happened last time.
You know who you are. If you're one of those and you're peddling the same old rubbish, then change the act a bit. The thing is, you watch the TV and there's a number of different comedians that are on there. So there's a lot of people out there that can do the talk. But once again, it's understanding.
Just this week, I opened a Facebook picture of somebody that helped me on this road, and I pinched the picture so that I could zoom in on his flip chart, and it was a slide from 10 years ago, and he stood in front of it this week. So that's the kind of stuff that every year I reinvent. I'll find new ways of making it fresh. Not for anybody else, but for me.
Yep.
Because that keeps it exciting for me.
Listen, what we're going to talk about, we're talking about setting goals.
Right.
Just give us, in a minute, a brief outline of what we're going to be talking about on this particular show and what the takeaways you think might well be.
Right, so
in a minute.
In 60 seconds,
yes.
Right. Mindset, knowledge and action. So how to make sure that, and some things you can do to get your brain right, some ways to set some goals, and some things, for example, some very specific ways to things to do in a business. So, for example, how to design a very basic marketing plan. In 2 minutes, I could share how to do that.
So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
It's going to be an absolutely fascinating, a real insight into what we're going to be looking at today. If you are an organisation, if you are an SME, if you're a solopreneur, we've all got to set those business goals. If we can imagine that what they are our route map. They're the things that kind of keep us on the straight and narrow, on the right road to success in the future. If you are a business and perhaps you're bouncing about all over the place without any of this guidance that you are self-imposing, without that kind of guidance, you're going to find that your business isn't going to be as efficient, and it probably won't achieve the success that you are hoping for it to achieve as quickly. I mean, you may be very lucky. It may actually achieve success in no time at all, just through accident. But if you want to do it structured, if you want to have that roadmap, then you really do need to set those goals, because at least then you know what you are targeting for. It's going to be a fascinating insight. As I said, we've got Ian with us today, and a top award-winning business coach and also speaker. So that's all to come on this edition of Business Connections Live. We look forward to you sticking with us for the entire show. So, TBNS next week, isn't it?
Yes, this week.
This week. God, what am I saying? Next
Yes.
week. This week, isn't it?
Yes,
Friday.
Yes, this Friday.
The nightmare has arrived quickly.
So, I was talking to...
When I say that, the show's great. When
Yes.
I say nightmare, I mean personally. We de-rigged the studio, and we moved the studio from here in London,
Wow.
and we move it up to Wolverhampton for a day. Then we de-rig it, bring it back, and get it set up for next Monday's show.
So I'm glad I'm on this Monday then, and not next Monday.
Because next Monday...
Who knows what will come back?
God knows. But it's an exciting show, isn't it?
Yes, and I missed it last year. I think I was in America last year and I couldn't come. So, and got very kindly asked if I would do a slot this year. One of the things that I love, in fact, I'll be honest, I was talking to Brad this morning on the way here, was that he uses the word jamboree. And I just think that when you look at all the marketing that's been put together for it, that it comes across as a complete business jamboree. There's a mishmash of anything that you could ever want from business at TBNS. So, and the list of speakers is like, oh my God. So, I'm other than the fact that I'm on the list, of course, I'm flattered to be on the list. But the thing is, everybody just gets 25 minutes, whether you're flying in from the Philippines,
Yes.
which I think,
or you're right at the end of the day.
Or you're right at the end of the day. Everybody's going to get that 25 minutes. So, and I'm to be honest with you, I am struggling to know which 25 minutes I'm going to use, because 25 minutes will go in the blink of an eye. So, but we'll find something exciting.
I tell you what, we had Brad and we also had Gary Turner on from Xero. They were on the programme last week. An absolutely cracking show it was. It was talking about TBNS. I think what was good about the show as well, we were talking about the in-cloud accounting packages as well. Gary Turner, fascinating guy. Brad Burton, of course. I mean, he was very well behaved actually for Brad last week. It was a really good show. If you get an opportunity, if you're going to TBNS this Friday, if you get an opportunity, watch last week's edition of Business Connections Live. It'll give you a real insight into what the show is all about. If you did miss the show, you just want a little bit of a teaser for it right now, here's an opportunity. Have a look at this. On today's show, we're looking at how to meet, speak and network on an SME budget at the Business Networking Show. This year, the 18th of September in Wolverhampton. My guests to explain all, you've probably already had a bit of a taster for them there. My guest on today's show is Brad Burton, Managing Director of For Networking, and Gary Turner, Managing Director of Xero. I'm
a family man. You know, I'm 42-year-old now, and I started my business about 10 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing. You fast forward 10 years, now I'm a business author. I'm a former pizza man. I used to deliver pizza 10 years ago to keep my business afloat, and I run For Networking. For Networking is a big national business network, and I'm also a motivational speaker. I go around there motivating people.
I'm a software guy. I've been in software for nearly 25 years now, so I'm one really old, but two, love software, love technology, and couldn't ever imagine doing anything other than software. I'm rather tragically addicted to it, and so I've managed to build a business and make a living and put food on the table, helping small businesses get the most out of their fortunes with software and technology.
What you need to be when you first start a business off is more a market trader than managing director, because somewhere along the way I started my business off and I was being very professional. Professional doesn't pay the mortgage.
There are 5.3 million businesses in the UK, and 99% of them are small businesses, so it's a huge market. And so what the cloud and what modern mobile technology has done is it's just made it easier to reach that large number. The majority of small businesses haven't ever used accounting software, and the majority of small businesses use a spreadsheet.
I think, and this is probably one of the reasons why Gary's team and himself are involved in TBNS, is because there's an education piece here, because a lot of businesses don't worry about that stuff until it's too late. And I was guilty my first year of trading with my first business of genuinely doing that. There's my bag on the bookkeeper and fix it. So categorically, no two ways about it. I think the priority for a business when you're starting off is sales, second all the admin, and these guys are trying to bring it alongside it, that it's not intrusive anymore, and actually it runs alongside it, and actually that would help any small business. So
the good news is there are 50,000 company formations a month. The bad news is 60% of them won't be here by 2020.
Right.
And a huge part of that is they don't keep on top of their numbers, they don't know where they are. And actually it's just so important.
My name is Brad Burton, I'm Managing Director for Networking. I'm also the guy who's technically behind TBNS, but the actual team behind TBNS is Dawn Catlow and a company called Apples and Oranges. She's the lady who's been doing all the work, bringing everything together. TBNS is just that, it's bringing everyone together. Now, unless you've got something really important to do on Friday, September the 18th, all day, you need to get to TBNS. It's over in Wolverhampton, and we're going to be running networking events. We've got exhibition halls, we've got keynote speakers, world-class keynote speakers, we've got the best of the rest, we've got bump tables, listen, there's no better place to be on Friday the 18th. It's central location. What's your excuse? Oh, before I go, I'll even give you a code. It's good for 10 uses, BB15. If you do get a ticket right now, use that code. Go on the website, thebusinessnetworkingshow.info, type in the code when you go to book a ticket, BB15, and you'll get £5 off. That's good for 10 uses.
I'm Gary Turner, I'm the Managing Director for Xero in the UK. Xero is what we call beautiful accounting software that enables small businesses that are just getting going, or businesses that have been going for a while, to really take control of their financials, understand where they are, get their money in quicker. Businesses that do that are statistically proven to be more successful. They're not going to fail as readily, and the customers and the feedback that we get from our customers on Twitter do a search for @0 and you'll see it firsthand. It's just the advocacy that we get and the feedback and the passion that people have for using accounting software, which is something that you shouldn't really ever get passionate about. But believe me, people do get passionate about using Xero because it enlightens them, it helps them really know their numbers, and it enables them to make the right decisions about where they should be investing, where the problems are, where the opportunities are in their business. And so if you want to find out more about Xero, just go to xero.com, that's xero.com, or follow us on Twitter, which is @Xero.
You're watching Business Connections Live. Great to have your company as always. Our guest on today's show is Ian Dickson, award-winning business coach and speaker, looking at setting business goals to achieve ongoing business success. Ongoing business success. So where do we start then?
Right, because I know we're going to run out of time. There's something that I do want to talk about, which I know has been put out to promote today. I was talking about attracting success. So, which sounds like a bizarre concept in itself. How do you attract good things in? So, but I was at an awards dinner on Saturday. That was a client's award dinner, Growing Places, which is a children's preschool nursery, 100 staff, 10 locations, very, very busy, very successful. It's a charity actually, but very successful. And the room was just so packed with very, very proud people. Whether they won awards or not, they were with people that were winning awards within the room. So, and the reason why I wanted to share it is that other than the work that the lady that runs that business, Jackie, her name is, who I've been working with for about 3 years, is that they attract not only great staff, but great customers, great children, because of that pride, because of that positive atmosphere that they've created there. Now, that doesn't happen by accident. So this whole attraction of, or the law of attraction, as everyone, I'm guessing the law of attraction thing most people are familiar with, is very real. So now, I'm not a tree hugger, and I'm not somebody that's very spiritual. No offence to any tree huggers out there, but after 11 years of doing this, I can tell you it is very, very real. So, and it isn't about trying to create something so you have that happiness. You have to create that happiness, and then all that attraction happens. So,
but is it? So what are we saying here? Are we saying it is a state of mind? If you are positive in your outlook, if you are positive in the way that you conduct business, then positive things will happen to you. If you are a pessimist or whatever, then life is going to be a bit like that.
And I am an individual. You're absolutely right, Stephen. I am an individual that wasn't always annoyingly happy. So, I used to be a bit of a mood hoover, an Olympic standard sulker. I could sulk for days. But I have learned some things, for example, the language that I use, and always speak in a positive way. I have no desire to be unhappy or in a bad place. So why on earth would I choose a bad attitude? So now, if you have...
It's easy to do, though, isn't it?
Right, so...
It is easy to do.
That's a really challenging statement, because actually for some people it's very difficult. And if you are one of life's naturally half-empty people, then to think positively all the time can be quite tough, I would say. So, but there's some very simple tricks. So start surrounding yourself with people like me, annoyingly happy people.
Right.
You can't help but start to feed off of that energy. So it's real. You wouldn't put your fingers into the sockets of your at home, because you know that's going to give you a shock.
Bad thing.
That's a bad thing. So especially if you're in the bath. So you wouldn't do that. But we know that electricity is there, but we can't see it. So we all emanate this energy. You've only got to go to a concert, a pop concert. You've only got to go to TBNS this Friday to feel that energy. We can all sense it. So it's very, very real. So at an individual level, if you can be happy and be positive, then that's a great thing. But to attract success in a business, it is so incredibly powerful to see businesses and people employed within a business embrace this whole concept and do the whole happy numbers thing and be in a good space.
But there is a danger, isn't there, that some purveyors of, being happy, it can become very happy clappy, and there must be a professional level of this and a happy clappy level of this. There's going to be a happy medium somewhere, isn't there?
Have you seen the fish video? The Atlanta, I think they're in Atlanta. The guys in Atlanta throwing fish around.
No, I haven't. No.
It's a very well-known sort of. In fact, it goes back to my days in corporate. It's a corporate video about being happy in the workplace. You're saying about to what scale do you go?
Yes.
So there are people that go to. I'm pretty sure it's in Atlanta. They go to this fish market just to watch the staff throw fish around. And they throw huge, great fish, and everybody there is clapping, they're laughing. People with hangovers come to work because they want to be part of this whole thing. So when you say to what level do you go, honestly, you know, restaurants is another really good example. You can tell when you're in a place where the staff are happy here. So, and that's how. You know, so the scale of things for me, I don't think it really matters. You know, if you're a funeral directors, so there's going to be
probably not appropriate at times.
So there are, you know, I'm sure we can all give examples of it. But generally, to attract success into a business, it starts with your mindset and your attitude. You attract great clients, you attract great suppliers, you attract great staff, but it starts with you as the business owner. So as simple as that. Surround yourself with happy people. Believe 100% of the time that you are going to be successful. And I don't want to sort of belittle it and make it into a very simple thing. It takes time and it takes effort, of course, but it does come. So 11 years, my God, I get text, phone calls and...
All right, so we're coming from a happy place.
Yes.
So now within our business, and it's worth reminding ourselves that, because there are a lot of business owners out there who will be quite negative in their approach, in fact will be destructive in the way they manage. And we see this bullying in the workplace at times. Yeah. We see management by fear. I've done consultancy for organisations who will manage in somebody's name. Yeah. If you do not do this, then so-and-so is going to be very annoyed. Or so-and-so wants this. And because of the reputation, you therefore do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with businesses where we've been able to get at some of the staff to get at the management. So you can infiltrate the business at a employee level and create happy people within the business, and then that starts to move up that way. Or, ideally, if I can get at the business owner and get them to start taking the blue pill instead of the red pill every morning and get them into a good space, it cascades down, which is the best way to do it. So,
how does this positive attitude then fit in with our setting of goals?
Right, so when I first sit down with people, and you hit the nail on the head, business owners go through a cycle, don't you? You know, you get despondent, you get disillusioned, resentful, and you end up with the lowest paid job with the least holidays with the worst boss ever. You know, and it's your business. So it's understanding. So often people end up in that space. And so my job when I first sit down with people, before I even start talking about setting goals, because it's pointless if I can't get them in the right space from a mindset perspective, is to get them without getting them happy, you know, is to get them in the right place. And the sort of things that I'll talk to them about is, can you remember what your business was like when you first started? Because it's day one for me. I'm dead excited. I'm really looking forward to it. So there is this viral approach to it, and you do start to see people start to come out of their shell again and start to, you know, I've had people sit down with me and say, right, I want a 5-year exit plan, get me out of this bloody business. And I'll sit down with them, and within 3 or 4 months, they're dead excited. They want to open another one. You know, they've got them back on form. And then that's when I'll start sitting down. So, right, well, where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? You know, what things irritate you? So, irritation, now there's a really good one. So, just very briefly. So, Jack Canfield taught me this, to name drop. Jack Canfield, just amazing. So, we all have irritations in life, okay? So, little things, the lid off the toothpaste, the toilet seat up, the people not paying on time, just little things that irritate us, okay? So, and what happens is we shut those things off because they're little things that we don't want to create bad, you know, we want to create good things, not bad things. So, and we don't want confrontation. So we just let them go. And they are shutters. And every little irritation, if I got you to write me a list, these are things I'll do with clients. I want you to write down all the things that irritate you. Let's get an annoyance list together.
Yep.
And I've had some seriously long lists. So you get people write down all the things that irritate or annoy them. So now we need to start getting rid of these, because as human beings, we cannot differentiate between good and bad when it comes to things like irritation. So we put the shutters up to shut those things off, and our senses are switched off passé, that's it, they're switched off. So the guy running past with a billboard saying, I've got a new contract for you, I've got a new contract for you, we can't see him because we've got this big irritations list. So there's another sort of thing that we need to get away to get into the happy place. Right, so goals, very, very simple. So, you know, if it's not written down, it's not a goal as far as I'm concerned. It's standard stuff. You have to be very, very specific. One of the things that people do miss out on is that it's never cast in stone. So I'm changing goals with people all the time. So because if it becomes, you know what business is like, it's just constantly moving.
It changes on a daily basis.
So, you know, often we'll sit down and say, right, let's actually, let's hire that goal. What often happens is they're banging it out of the park, and I sit down and they say, yeah, smashed it again this month. Oh.
But is there not a danger that, I mean, the problem with goals sometimes is you don't aim high enough, so you don't put any challenge on your business. Or the other thing, if you're continuously changing the goals that you have set, then that's a bit like having a plan A and a plan B. And as Brad Burton would say, if you've got a plan B, then your plan A is probably not the right plan. Maybe your plan B is your plan A.
No, we just have 99 plan A's. It's all fine. So. All I say is that whatever is that you're striving for needs to be a little bit scary, but ever so exciting. So if it's just, often we don't even know how we're going to get there. So especially year goals, I never go beyond a year. So whether that be a financial year or I nearly said legal year, but a calendar year, just 12 months away, because we can see it, smell it, taste it a year away, so it'll be here in the
Well, anything after that really is fantasy, isn't it? Because we don't know what the next second's going to bring, let alone the next 12 months.
I go end of life, so, you know, what's it all for kind of stuff, you know, where do you want to be when you're finished? But really, it's about getting, and only 2 or 3 things, actually. What do you want? What are your 3 big, like, oh my gods for this year? I call them hugs, huge, unbelievable goals. And there's a very specific reason for that. So it's because it's an emotive thing. Everybody loves a hug. I know we didn't have one today, did we?
No.
Everybody loves a hug. So shall we, on the break?
OK. But no tongues.
But I'm flushing up now. It's because of the emotive, the hug thing is an emotive thing. So, and we make decisions based on emotions, not logic. So, and setting goals is a very logical, so it tends not to be quite so friendly. So we call them hugs. But only 3, 2 or 3 for the year. Now, one is a given. It'd be a financial goal of some description, whether that be a revenue goal or a profit type goal. And then maybe a personal goal and then something different.
All right, now we're going to come back. I'm going to find out what your goals are in just a few moments' time. The 3 that you have written, he's going to have to think them up now, isn't he? He's going to sort himself out. But we'll find out what your 3 goals are in just a few seconds' time. Still more to talk about as well. We are looking at goals and also personal attraction as well, for that matter. Do you attract success in your business? We'll talk more about that in just a few moments' time. You're watching Business Connections Live. It is great. Do you remember Frosty the Lion?
Of course I do, yes. I'm 55. I can remember Frosty the Lion. So
you probably remember
Tiger.
The Tiger, Frosty the Tiger.
Yeah, so...
great.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving smartly on, if you're enjoying today's show, and it's great to have your company as always with us on this edition of Business Connections Live. My guest today, as you can see, is Ian Dickson, award-winning business coach and speaker, and we are looking at setting goals up. If you're enjoying the program, you think, you know what, this is such an engaging way. We're having a bit of fun. We're thinking positively about everything that is going on at the moment. We're talking in a positive way. We're verbally hugging each other as we go through the program. And you're thinking to yourself, you know, this is not only is this entertaining, but it's getting a message over. In the past 30 minutes, we have talked about positive thinking. We've talked about writing down your personal goals. We've said that you've got to be specific as well about those personal goals as well. You've got to have maybe 3 personal goals that you're going to be looking at for throughout the course of the year. We've engaged you with that, and maybe you're taking notes, maybe you're writing down. Now imagine you had a program like this one that was doing exactly that. It was engaging your audience, your customers, your employees, and it was being as engaging as today's show is, but it was about your business. Are you still sending out boring newsletters? Are you doing that? Are you still sending out long-form emails that are trying to pull clients in? Well, I'll tell you what, here's a proposition to you. Why don't you change readers into viewers? Engage them, be you on screen. You could have a program just like this, and we call it Your Brand TV. Still sending out conventional newsletters to customers?
Do you just want a more engaging way to talk to your customers and employees?
Hello, I'm Steve Hyland.
And I'm Linda Bazant of Business Connections Live.
Your Brand TV is a completely branded television show that can be streamed live or delivered on demand to your niche audience. Be the first in your market to capitalise on the online media gold rush that is using online video to effectively deliver news, information and education to key personnel and clients.
Video attracts 2 to 3 times as many monthly visitors. It doubles their time spent on your site and has a 150% increase in organic traffic from search engines. Large networking organisations are already utilising the power of Your Brand TV to market, promote and publicise to their members and groups across the UK.
Your programme will be branded with your corporate colours and logos in your own broadcast quality network studio.
You can choose the format. It can be news or magazine or interview in its look and feel.
You can have live guests on your show or you can Skype them in.
You can stream the show live or on demand, so it's available for catch-up.
This is a chance to deliver your message in a new exciting format that will allow your business to cut through the noise and stand out from the crowd and engage your workforce and customers. This is Your Brand TV.
To get more information on this fabulous opportunity to bring to life your corporate communications, contact us today at Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.
There we are. We're just having a good old hug.
Nothing like a good hug.
Nothing like we've had our hug now. And we thoroughly enjoy that. Lovely to have you with us today. Now, if you do want to find out more information about Your Brand TV, you can get in touch with us here at the studios by simply emailing us at studio@businessconnectionslive.com. There it is, just sitting down there along the bottom of the screen. If you want to, you can also give us a call. You can talk to myself, Steve Hyland, or Linda Bazant. The telephone number is 01784 256 777. And don't forget, you can always follow us as well on Twitter for that matter. There it is, BCL Business TV. There is also a Facebook page, which we never ever put up, but there is a Facebook page. We'd love you to go to that and to give us some likes too. We're also putting the programmes up there. It's a very interesting time where we are at the moment. I'm going to be kind of talking about this at TBNS myself. We really are. We're at the forefront. I think a year ago, we all thought we were at the forefront of using video to promote and to sell our products online. Things are really changing. Facebook really has come along at the moment and they're really sort of shaking things up. But there are so many different video platforms out there. The engagement that you get when somebody comes to your website, they say that when someone comes to your website, you have 8 seconds to go. You really want to see the rest of this. But so many of us, what we do, we waffle on about the number of vans we've got, how many people work for us, how long we've been in existence. And do you know what? We just don't get to the point. And we're seeing this now on Facebook. We're seeing it on YouTube. We're seeing it on the likes of Vimeo. I mean, you've just got to get to the point. You've got to use video. And video is such a powerful medium to promote and to sell your brand, your services online. So do not miss out on that opportunity. Give us a call. Get in touch. And if you think you can't do it, well, I'll tell you what, we'll show you how. We'll show you how to put the script together. We'll show you how to sell your product. We'll, thousands of hours on-screen experience here, live broadcast, thousands of hours behind the microphone in radio. We know what we're talking about. Come and talk to us and we'll sort you out. You're watching Business Connections Live. It is great to have you with us as always. My guest on today's show is Ian Dickson. He's the award-winning business coach and speaker, and we're looking at setting business goals to achieve ongoing success for your business. It's what we all want. We've talked about having a positive mental attitude, being positive, outgoing, and if you are positive, you will attract other positive things to you. There is no repelling going on there, as one would find if it was magnetism. Where am I going with this?
I have no idea.
No idea. Moving
It's that
smartly
hug,
on.
isn't it? It's that
but
hug.
we talked about writing down specifics, and I said to you, what your 3 personal goals were. Give us an example of what you're targeting.
I'm going to use the opportunity to get some help from your viewer, actually.
All right.
My first goal is always a revenue goal, so I can look after that one. But I would always have a revenue goal and bearing in mind I do these every November, December for the coming year. And when I first started doing this, I couldn't begin to tell you, and I get to do it 20 odd times a year now because with the clients that I've got, but it is so much fun getting to the end of a calendar year or a financial year and pulling out goals that have been set from 12 months before and going through and working out, whether or not they've been done or whether they've been moved 99 times to whatever the desired zone. So I always have a revenue goal. I came on the show last time and shared with you my book. I'm still looking for a publisher for that. We'd really like to get that onto the shelf, and I promised my children that they could go in and buy a copy.
Got the book here, in fact,
Yes,
haven't we?
so-
Just My Motivational Journey. It's a cracking book, in fact. There it is, My Motivational. What this was, if my memory serves me right, you sit down and you do a doodle each and every day, don't you?
Basically, I did about 400 hand-drawn cartoons that were like affirmations. Every Monday morning I would just sometimes do 2 or 3, either things that had happened to me during the course of my week with coaching or something I'd seen or heard. I just sat and hand-drew it. My drawing was really not very good and was inconsistent, and so I got in touch with a really clever guy in Spain who sat and drew the whole set, and we got them into a book. They're very expensive to produce individually, so I'd desperately love to get in front of an appropriate type of publisher that would put that on the shelf for me. So that's another one of my goals for this year, and then the third goal, which I set last November, December, bear in mind it was last year that I set this, was for the last 2 or 3 years I've been running around the country doing events for other people, like the Business Networking show this Friday. I'm speaking at the XL in December. I'm speaking at a magazine publishers conference, and I thought I used to do my own, so I sat down last year and said I'm going to do my own show in 2015. I'm going to do my own event, and that's coming up. So
what's
again,
it called?
It's your best ever year in business, unlock success. So it's on the 6th of November down in Portsmouth. We have a guest speaker who's going to come along and...
Well, we've got it here, actually.
Yeah,
3 keys to unlock success: mindset, knowledge, action. Friday, the 6th of November 2015 in Portsmouth in Hampshire. Oh, look, special guest speaker is Brad Burton,
Yes.
UK's #1 motivational business speaker. So what can they expect on that particular course, do you think?
Right, so it was originally a 2-day workshop, and we're just going to do it in a day. So what you will get is it'll be bursting at the seams with content. So I have an 80-page workbook that is packed full of to-do stuff. So it's a bit like a crib book. So it's got a lot of the answers in it. You just got to fill in the blanks. So I remember giving one away to somebody the last time I used to do these books, and they rang me up and asked me if they could have a completed one. You're supposed to fill it in during the course of the day. So, but basically we divide the day up into 3 sections. We're going to spend the morning getting people into the right space of mind. Then we're going to share some knowledge with them, and then in the afternoon it's heads down, putting a 90-day plan together, which is the start of their best ever year in business.
So that then is your hug. One of the hugs.
One of my things is to do my stuff rather than go and share on another platform. It's the most exciting thing that I do for me personally. The thing that I enjoy doing the most, because I spend my week spending time with people on a one-to-one basis. But I love getting in front of groups of people because I can deliver the same message, but instead of one-to-one, I can do one-to-many. So,
all right. So that's good advice.
Yeah.
So to have those 3, set yourself those clear targets.
Happen.
So and they will happen because they're in your conscious,
yeah.
they're in your psyche all the time. Where do we go after having written them down, and we've done our targets or our goals for the year? What's the next step? What should we be considering?
Right.
Then?
So you won't do them. So that's the truth of it. So you need to have somebody to keep you accountable. And I'm not sort of pitching for business here, but you do need to have somebody that will embarrass you, prod you and poke you, somebody that's an unreasonable friend that will just say, come on, you said you were going to do this. So the trick is to get them to make you emotionally attached to whatever it is that you set out to do. So if somebody says to me, I'm going to quit smoking, I'll start asking why questions. So why are you going to quit smoking? How are you going to feel about that? And put my, well, I actually will say to them, I'm going to put my coachy head on, I'm going to ask you some coachy questions. Because our decisions are based on our emotions. So the logical reason says, I'm going to quit smoking, because on the side of the packet it says it kills you. That's the logical reason to quit smoking. But you need to add an emotional tie to that, otherwise it won't happen. So I have a very simple one-pager form. This is after 11 years how much I've done. You know, what's the word? Help me out. When you bring something down to a really
condense.
Perfect. Thank you.
Go,
that hug was brilliant. So we condense down to a single sheet nearly everything that I do. So I can get a year plan on one piece of paper. So what are your 3 goals? Give me 5 reasons on each of those goals why you want to achieve them, and then what are your first 10 activities going to be against those 3 goals.
Do you find people, when you say this to them, actually what they feel is that it's too difficult? It's a bit like when you go through your filing. You've got the too difficult stuff to do today, I'll do it tomorrow. Do people find it very difficult to actually to crystallise their thoughts? Yeah,
and I've got to say, maybe for the first 3 or 4 years that I was doing this job, I got incredibly frustrated because I'd got my head around how goal setting works, and I'd sit and talk to somebody and say, well, over the next 2 weeks I want you to come back to the table with 3 great hugs for 2010 or whenever it might have been, and they come back and they're scratching their head, and because actually we live in a Xerox world. We just photocopy our lives every month to get to the next month, to get to the next month, and actually projecting ahead is an anti-thought. We struggle to think that way, which is why people like me exist, because we will find ways to get you to the other end. I won't say to people, I want you to tell me about some goals in 12 months away. I'll sit down and say, right, imagine this is January 2016. What sort of year did you have? And work backwards.
Fundamentally then, are we looking... Maybe we haven't got you as part of our team, but are we looking for effectively that conscience on our shoulders? Here's my 3 goals, here are the objectives that I've set out, I'm working towards those. It just needs somebody on your shoulder going, have you done it? Have you done it? Why haven't you done it?
Exactly.
You said you were going to do it and you haven't done it.
Yeah, the other you. And you've also got someone on the other shoulder saying, it's okay, you don't have to worry about that. Eat that donut. We talked about donuts last time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Eat that donut. It doesn't. It's only one donut. So you've got somebody on either shoulder. So what you need is somebody behind you giving you that kick up the jacksie. That's the thing. And nowadays, we talked about platforms earlier. There are lots of ways that you can create that self-accountability. So it takes brave people. People I work with, I have nothing but respect, because it takes a brave person to step up and say, I want to be accountable. As a business owner, we're not accountable to anybody. And actually, that's one of the attractive things about becoming a business owner, is that you don't have to worry about the boss anymore. And it can be your own worst enemy. So having somebody that will keep you accountable is vital. And then we've got all these platforms now, so there are other ways that you can do it. So you can broadcast out across your social feed, I'm going to run a marathon next March.
Is there any...
I'm not, by the way.
You're not?
No.
No, because that'd be bad for you.
Yes.
Is there any particular goal that you see regularly that people come up with? Are there the cliche goals nearly?
Well, the revenue goal is a given, so in business.
You've got to have that.
Yeah, so, I think that is very much what I wouldn't say it's all for, but that gives you the choice to be able to do the things that you want to do. So the revenue goal, cliche goal, time off is a bit of a cliche goal. So I want to work harder so I can take more time off.
Because you hear that a lot, don't you? I want to work 3 days a week.
Yeah, the work-life balance thing.
Yeah.
So, and notes for next book is that work-life balance is a myth. It doesn't exist, and let go of work-life balance. It just does not exist. So that's
a big statement.
Right, so let me explain why. So you have to enjoy, you think how long you spend at work. You're at work right now. I'm guessing hopefully you're having a good time.
I'm having a great time. I'm having a ball.
Right, so you're at work right now. Think how long you spend at work. Actually, you probably spend more time at work than you do with your partner. I know there'll be some people saying that's a good thing, but we do spend more time at work than we do at home. So you've got to enjoy what you do. So if you're working the checkout at Asda and you don't enjoy it, go find a job that you do enjoy. We're not on the planet long enough. So then every day is an enjoyable day. So and it isn't an excuse to say that there aren't any jobs. It isn't an excuse to say I'm not qualified. It isn't. Go get those qualifications. So go make that happen. Enjoy every day. Work-life balance does not exist. You just have to enjoy whatever you're doing that day.
And it turns a bit, and it is really a cliche. We've heard it a lot in the press recently with some industrial action that potentially might take place with work-life balance, and it really doesn't exist.
Well, you're right. It's a bold, brave statement to have. But part of my job is to put things right up and out there and say, you know, that's what you should be striving to achieve.
Some people would say, of course, I'm not in a position to actually control that.
Why not?
Well, there you go. That's why you're the coach. That's why I'm just a presenter sitting here.
So,
OK, where are we going to go to next? We've looked at that. What's next to go then?
What else have we got? So
very briefly, the top line, what we're going to be looking at in a moment.
Right, so another really big missed trick in business, which is a foundation stone nowadays in business, is to be a great communicator. So we live in a world where, you know, it's kind of interesting because about 5 years ago, I would put social media sort of in the top 3 or 4 marketing tools for business, you know, get on all the platforms, la la la. And it's really starting to move back down the list for me. So, and what I'm saying is stick a stamp on it and send it in the post. You don't put it on Facebook. You know, it's actually fish and chip paper. You know, used to say the old newspapers was tomorrow's fish and chip paper. At least that lasted through to fish and chips. You post something up onto Facebook now, I'm not kidding, within 30 seconds it's gone.
It's gone, and we'll talk more about that in a few seconds' time. That's still to come. Social media dropping down. That's fascinating, isn't it? More to come from my guest today, Ian Dickson, on this edition of Business Connections Live. You're watching Business Connections Live, as always. Great to have you with us. And do you know, that was fish and chip paper.
Yeah, it doesn't even last, it doesn't even get you to tomorrow, so it doesn't get you beyond your first 3 or 4 chips. Can you imagine eating fish and chips, watching your Facebook wall? It scrolls up that quick. So I've really.
Are you disillusioned then with Facebook at the moment?
No, I still think that it plays a part, and actually, and I know you've had some fantastic social media gurus on the show, is that it is here to stay. And you know, I'm a big social media guy, so you know, I spend a lot of time on social media. But for me, it's community build. So it's about is awareness. So you know, it's never. I would see it as an out-and-out marketing tool. So, but you have to see it for what it is. So one of the things I've got a client that uses it now all the time. And one of the ways I describe all social media really is like it's 35,000 people in a stadium all shouting and nobody's listening.
We'll use it. I will use that. I've now officially. It's official.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
have just stolen that.
There you go. So, and the thing to do is every now and again turn and talk to somebody. So and then another one and then another one, and then slowly people start to know, oh, Ian Dickson's in the audience today. So and your community starts to build. So
we'll come back. Well, don't go too far down. We're going to talk about communication.
Okay.
In just a few moments' time. You are watching Business Connections Live. Ian's alluded a few times to TBNS, which is taking place this Friday. If you're watching the programme in real time on the live stream this Friday, Wolverhampton Racecourse, the 18th. Let me just get the appropriate page up. Here it is. There we go. The Business Networking Show 2015. Wolverhampton, All Day PA and Zero, the 2 main sponsors. Ruben Singh is going to be the opening keynote. You've got Stephen Thomas there. Will King. These are the big stars. Gary Turner from Zero, Chris Ducker, Brad Burton. And then you have the also runs down the bottom of the page. And look, there we are. And so if you are coming on that, we look forward to meeting you there at the show. It's going to be a really interesting show. One of the also runs, and she'll hit me for this, is the fabulous, some people call her the #1 female motivational speaker in the UK, Debbie Huxton. I've said that for a purpose, actually. She's going to be there as well. We're looking forward to seeing Debbie again. I interviewed Debbie at last year's show. Now, it's a bit all over the place. This gives you kind of a feel of what goes on at TBNS. For those people who don't know who you are or didn't go and see you earlier on, straight, you're good at this because you're in the studio, you're very good. It's hot up here. Straight down the middle camera. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Hi everybody, I'm Debbie Huxton. I'm a life changer. I work with business owners all over the UK, aligning them with their highest values and purpose so they can have complete peace of mind.
We could be the new Richard and
well,
Julie,
you know,
couldn't
I'm
we?
thinking.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
How did it go in there? Because I came in and saw you for a little while. You were midway along your presentation. So just tell me, how did it all go?
It was good. I enjoyed it. Thank you. The audience were amazing. You know, when you get a really good audience in there, lots of smiling faces. And I don't remember what I said because I go into flow. I'm just in there.
What are the key things you're trying to get over to them?
Well, my message today was all about the very fact that as individuals, we have a choice. You know, it isn't about blaming other people for where we are in life or where we are in our business. We actually do have a choice.
Do you think people in business don't really get that?
No, I think that many people do. They're just very scared to make that choice because then the onus is on them. It's about taking that personal accountability. And I think from a very young age, that's actually knocked out of us.
Now, it's falling off now, isn't it?
That's okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's it? You got it?
Yeah.
There you go. There we go. We can hear you now. So, we've got to take those choices, haven't we? We've just got funny ears, haven't you?
I think we're there.
There we go. I think it's pulling on the back of the chair. I think that's what's doing it at the back. So there we are. Gordon's sorting you out from
Did you have these problems when you produced Radio 1, Will? He's not listening.
He is. He's very offended. So what's next now for you? Tell us a little bit before that about the book, the Little Red Book, because I noticed that you're actually using some of the lines from that in there. It's part of the presentation, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, the book's there to help people. I produced a small book that had very limited words in it so that it had much more of an impact, because sometimes you don't need a lot of words to make a big change.
Yeah.
So the book's there for people, and the feedback that I've had from most people is that the size of it is just great because they do use it in their pocket, and every now and again people pull it out of their pocket and they can just have that little moment, that little piece of inspiration and words of wisdom that can just help them.
Well, listen, it was fantastic you coming on the program. You were on there with Brad a couple of weeks ago.
Loved it.
The question I've got to ask you, did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it.
It was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm coming back, aren't I?
You're coming back.
Telling national.
Well, what we're
television.
talking about doing is that Brad, Debbie, and Business Connections Live, we are talking about putting together a business clinic.
I'm just going to hold it.
Just hold it, or we'll be here all day. And we're looking forward to doing that, actually, aren't we?
I'm really looking forward to doing it.
What do you think the big questions are for these people that are here? They've turned up, they've seen you today. If you had to summarise the way they are, the problems that they have, what would be the big ones?
I think the key thing for business owners is many business owners are lost in a state of overwhelm. You know, they feel lots of them are overworked, and that's because they're not really connected to what they're doing. They don't really have a big picture. They're kind of meandering along, and a lot of it is overwhelm.
Overwhelm. Okay, well listen, I'm not going to keep you a lot longer because we're just fighting with microphones at the moment, so I'm going to drop that down between your legs.
Oh, hello.
Matron. And the nice thing is you couldn't do that in a broadcast environment, but because we're streaming, we're going to get away with it right now. So you're going to be coming back. We're going to be doing the business clinic as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Are you doing anything else at today's event, or is that your lot done now?
No, I'm going to support some other people who've been here to support me, and just go and enjoy the rest of the day.
If you've got 5 minutes of time and you can catch her and you know where she is and she talks to you, this is call the A team. Call the D team, because honestly it's well worth 5 minutes with the lady. She can redirect, she can make you maybe identify some of the issues or perhaps the problems that you've got. She can give you some key words of advice to help you move on your business and to actually grow it. And really at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. It's all about growing business. It's all about being more successful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on then, the 3 key things that people must remember before you walk away. They are: 1,
Accept that shit is going to happen in your business. Challenge will happen.
2,
Learn to be in the pain. Face your challenges. Don't hide from them. Don't distract.
and 3.
Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. If you're making a mistake once, it's okay, but if you're making the continuous same mistake, remember it's a choice.
I'm beginning to think that she says the same thing each and every time I see her, because you said the last one before. Listen, that was fantastic. You clear off. See you
Thank
later
you very
on.
much.
I think we're having a glass of wine later, aren't we? I'm paying apparently. There we go. Already very excited. You're watching Business Connections Live. It's great to have you with us. Don't forget the Business Networking Show. It is this Friday. You just saw Debbie there at last year's show. We'll see. We will be threading microphones between her legs again this year. She can't wait. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is Ian Dickson, award-winning business coach and speaker, looking at setting business goals to achieve ongoing success. We had a whole list of things we were going to be talking about. We've whistled through them. We've done really well. Just before the break, we were talking about communication, and you see that as really the new social media in many respects. Is that true?
Well, we live in the information age, so if you think about it, and in fact, when this sort of struck me, and it stood out to me that communication is a missing piece in a business owner's arsenal. So they might go on a sales course, an advertising course, a marketing course, a finance course, all sorts of courses. A leadership course even, but I don't see many business owners going on communication courses. So they might do a Facebook course or a LinkedIn course, but is that a communication? And when I say communication course, is that one of the things that that people that know me, they hear me say, is that I see dead people. So is that I did a lot of NLP training and understanding body language and understanding people. And what it's done for me is it's massively opened my eyes. I know for a fact, sometimes to an extent that it's a curse, is that because you can't unsee things, is that you see stuff that perhaps in a previous life I wouldn't have seen. So, but we live in the information age, and common sense told me that if we live in the information age, in order to get the best from it, then it makes sense to sharpen that tool to be a better communicator. And that doesn't mean speaking, it means listening and hearing and actually seeing stuff. So and for me, it now forms, if I was to draw a pyramid of what makes a successful business, communication sits as a foundation stone now. So not least because we live in the information
Communicating
age.
with who, though?
Right, exactly it.
And that is really important, isn't it? Is it communicating with your staff and understanding how you communicate with your staff? Is it communicating with your customers, your potential customers as well?
So all of the above. So prospects, clients, potential suppliers, actual suppliers, friends, relatives. When I first started on the social media feed, I had a personal social media page and a business social media page, because I had what I call my business persona and I had my personal persona, and actually I'm just me, you know, so all those things have now merged. But I was finding that I was mixing the two and trying to communicate this way and communicate this way. So all of those things are all form part of communication as in my world, as I see it. So, and there's a line that I use, which is true communication is the response you get. And
So what does that mean?
Right, so, well, I was going to ask you.
That's like boldly going where no man's ever gone before, isn't it?
So think about it. So if you ask somebody to do, and it's happened here today, so if you ask somebody to do something for you and it doesn't happen, then you didn't communicate.
Is that my fault?
It's your fault. How mad is that?
Yes.
Right. So when you get your head around that as a way of thinking, if I ask somebody to do so, or if I communicate with somebody in whatever form it is, if I don't get the desired outcome, then I didn't communicate. And when you take that to 100%, so every single time, and I wished I'd known this when my kids were young, because if my son ever watches this, he'll kill me for sharing. So when he was about 8-9 years old, I had him with his feet dangling off the ground. You will be home at 8:30 or you are grounded for life. And he came home at 9:15. So, and I thought to myself, well, how else can I communicate that? And if I'd known that as a way of thinking, that wasn't his fault, it was my fault. Because I needed to find another way to communicate with him. So he came home when I wanted him to come home. I grounded him for life, by the way, and he used to bring his friends home from school, and he used to open the front door and very proudly he'd say, "Dad, tell him how long I've been grounded for." So, but...
How old is he now?
43. So...
Can't be.
God,
he can't be that. He can't be 40. He can't be 43.
33.
33.
Oh,
I was going to say 43. It wouldn't have been a child bride. I can tell you that now, but nothing.
He's 33, so 34. Yeah. So true communication is the response you get. So as a line, once you embrace that as a way of thinking, then you absolutely will go out and find other ways to become a better communicator. And actually, the other thing is living in the information age. Look how many different platforms we can communicate on. You know, text messages, even as antiquated as it is as a platform, text messages, 95% of text messages are read in the first 20 seconds of receipt. It's so as a medium, it's incredibly powerful.
Here's a question. You're a coach. Here's a question. Social media, email, or letters?
Letters.
More effective.
Absolutely. So if everybody's yin and yang, this is why I love my job so much, is that it changes all the time. And, you know, being at the front end, and I do get to play, I've got 20 odd different businesses and we can experiment and try different things. So, you know, and I remember saying on the show last time, 7-8 years ago, I'd have said, don't ever do TV or radio. It's too expensive and goes nowhere. And now it's, you know, it sits in my top 10 list of ways, in my top 5 lists of ways to promote a business, is to get video content together. So it is incredibly powerful. But the social, it's lazy. Email's lazy. Social media platforms are lazy. You know, I say to people, you can go networking in your slippers and your gym jams. You can sit in front of LinkedIn and meet lots of people, and you know, virtually shake hands, and you can't hug them, but you can communicate.
Or even imply that you might.
So I'm going back old school, and you know, we got Periscope started now, so who knows what's coming round the corner. But that's why communication sits as a foundation block, because living in the information age, you are missing out on a big trick if you don't sharpen that particular tool in your box as a business owner.
Do you think we've got such a big choice now of social media technology, social media platforms, that what we're actually doing is that we are relying too much on those and we're actually losing the skill of communicating face-to-face, one-to-one? And
I think you're absolutely right, and I also think that it moves so fast that we don't often, you know, I've just got used to this and now that's gone, and now I've got to work out how to use this one. So, you know, I have a 2.5-year-old grandson that can swipe an iPad and can open apps and spend all my credit card money by putting in my PIN. He's 2.5 years old.
And that is frightening. Same here. Yeah. I've got a grandson as well and they are so, it's nothing to them now.
So
in fact, he's better on that than he is at talking. He's
and
getting
of course
there.
They don't know any different. So, but I am at the end of the stick where I can remember when I first started this job, it was optional whether or not I put a web page together. You know, of course nowadays these things are mandatory. So if you've got a business, you're going to have a website. You know, in fact, it's very rare nowadays you'll find somebody that hasn't. So, I know that we're running out of time, so I always want to put my caveat. I want to put my caveat on here is that my golden rule. And that is that there aren't any. Okay, this is just my view, and this is just my opinion, and this has just been my journey, and this is how I've found my way. So, and some of it's been through my own business. You know, I've made my own mistakes and done things that have taken me down a blind alley. And I've worked with clients where sometimes things haven't gone as we'd like them to have gone. Doesn't happen very often, I'm very glad to say. But this has been my view on life, you know, and a lot of, if not everything I've shared with you today is just stuff that has been my experience, not something I've read in a book or heard some speaker from a platform somewhere has said. So I always like to put my caveat in there, is that, you know, if they go away and do some of the things that I've shared, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get this.
Well, listen, caveat taken on board and caveat accepted, so that we know. Just sign on this piece, on this dotted line, please, if you don't mind. As always, Ian, what we do, we ask our guests to come on the programme, and we always sort of say at the end of it, we just need a couple of takeaways. I've got one of your pieces of paper here, and it says some headers for Steve, which I always find very useful when we do this. But you're very big on giving away content and also courses and things like that. I think it's only wise just to promote a little bit. We talked about the book earlier on that you've got here. You've got a course coming up very shortly. We talked about this. This is the one on Friday, the 6th of November 2015 in Portsmouth, Hampshire. Your best ever year in business, unlock success. The website address is
www.unlocksuccess.biz.
It's as simple and as straightforward as that.
Yes.
You can book now everything there that you need to find out about that.
Thank you for that.
Right, it's the takeaways, I'm afraid. The things that we need to go away with and to remember. Straight down camera number 1, if you don't mind. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Tell us what we need to remember when it comes to setting our goals, and maybe those little caveats and those little bits and pieces on the side that will make business more successful for us.
Prompt me if I forget any.
And don't forget, say who you are, and don't forget where you're from.
And I've got half an hour, you say?
No.
My name is Ian Dickson. I am a business performance coach and motivational speaker. I am here today to share with you I've been here today to share with some very simple tips on goal setting. So remember 99 plan A's, so is that it's movable. Don't always cast it in stone. In fact, never cast it in stone. Get somebody to keep you accountable. You might have a positive cherub on one shoulder and a negative on the other, but have somebody stood behind you kicking you up the jacksie to make sure you get those things done. Make sure they're believable. Set yourself 3 big goals for the year. Write down 5 reasons for each goal, 5 whys you want to achieve that goal, and then 10 things on each to get you started. What else could I tell you about goals? So make sure they're believable. I've already shared. Keep them positive. So never set a negative goal. I think that from a goal setting perspective, that's probably about it. And the only other really big takeaway today, which I think we touched on towards the end of today's show, was this whole thing about living in the information age, is to go away, sit in front of YouTube or TED or some other platform and learn about communication. It's such an incredibly powerful tool. We live in the information age. So thoroughly enjoyed the show. Business Connections Live, over 100 shows, I think, just coming up. So
coming up, not far away.
My God, over 100 hours of business content. Where else would you get it? So an amazing back catalogue. So thank you very much for inviting me to the show. My name is Ian Dickson, business coach and speaker. Thank you.
Well, listen, thank you very much indeed. As always, an absolute pleasure having you on the programme, as always. It's a real insight, and I think that's what we really enjoy about it. Listen, we do hope that what it's done for you today, it's allowed you maybe put some pegs down in the sand and to have a bit of a direction. To know where you're going in business is very important. I think the only thing that you cannot predict, and maybe you've got to build it into your goals, you do not know what the next second will bring. You do not know what the next phone call will bring. The next phone call, in fact, could be all the success that you desire. It could be the biggest order in the whole world. It could be the thing that revolutionises your life and the way you are perceived and the way you perceive things as well. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. It's been absolutely fascinating. Ian, thank you very much indeed for joining us today on the programme.
Always good fun. Thanks for the hug.
And I do hope you have enjoyed today. It's been a great show, so honestly, thank you. Right, a little bit of housekeeping, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's tell you who's coming up. The glasses go on, because otherwise I sit looking like this. Remember, was it Muskrat? Gee, deputy dog.
So anyway, we've done Frosty. We've
gone through all the Frosty the Lion. We went through. So we've had Ian today. On next week's show, apparently it was Tony the Lion.
Tony the Lion.
Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
It's all been whispered in my ear. I don't do this on my own, actually. There's a whole team of people sitting behind me, manipulating me and making me work. On next week's show, the welcome return of Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer, one of the most watched programmes on our channel. He looked, the last time he was on, at how to maximise your return on investing your time into using LinkedIn. There's a few people watching the programme. Remember, there are a few things you must never, ever do. One lady in particular you must never, ever mention. So Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer, is going to be talking about inbound marketing, the importance of building trust to make sure your products or your services are the natural choice. It'll be a great show. He's an absolutely fascinating guy. Programmes to look forward to. We've got some great shows lined up over the next couple of weeks. Justin Roos, Senior VP of Communications at Luvata, he's going to be joining us. You're probably sitting within maybe 10 feet of something that Luvata has manufactured or produced or researched or made. They are everywhere. They are a name that you've probably never heard of, but their reach touches nearly everybody in both their personal and their business lives. You wouldn't believe it. But more importantly, we talk about communications in business with Justin when he comes on the programme in a couple of weeks' time. Steve Nichols talking about tech in business. Steve's been on a couple of times. A welcome return, Steve, to bring us up to date with where we are. Of course, if you're watching this on the live stream, we've got the brand new iPhone coming out, the 6S, I think it's going to be. Improved camera. It's got this new thing where you can touch the screen. It's already had a touch screen, but depending on how hard you press it, they call it, I think you press it so you go deep. it will open up other functionality. Other manufacturers have got an iPhone launching it, of course, or Apple launching it in just a moment. He'll be talking about that. RBS BizCrowd, the free online business community for SMEs. They're going to be joining us on the show again. Benjamin Dennehy, he's a Sandler sales trainer and motivational speaker. And also the lovely Vanessa Lanham Day. She's going to be coming in and talking to us on Facebook advertising. They're just some of the shows that are coming up in the future. By the way, if you'd like to sponsor this programme, you can. I tell you what, it's time for us to disappear. Let's roll those end credits, shall we? Don't forget as well, we're on local TV if you're in the Cambridge TV area, Freeview Channel 8 and also Virgin 159. From me, Steve Hyland, and the fantastic Ian Dickson, to all of us, bye for now. Bye-bye.